So you ready for the Jack Lambert podcast?
Who is Jack Lambert?
I thought you'd never ask. He's a 1990 NFL Hall of Fame inductee.
Trump announced this morning that he has 4 candidates that he wants as Fed chair. And we know that 2 of them are Kevin Hassett and Kevin Warsh. One of them is probably Christopher Waller, who is already Fed governor. I don't know who number 4 is.
Do you have an opinion on Ethereum at all? And how do you look at one versus the other, if you do at all? And just give me a little riff on that.
Well, Solana has been outperforming Ethereum for the better part of a year or 2 now.
What is happening, good people? We are here to record Macro Dirt Podcast number 58 with my man, Jared Dillian. This is the Jack Lambert Podcast. What's up, my man?
What's up, Home Slice?
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah? Fired up today? Ready to go?
Yeah, I'm headed to New York tomorrow for the Rule 62 book signing.
Cool. Where are you doing that?
Yeah, I guess this is coming out on Wednesday. So the book signing is Thursday at Do Supper Club, which is at 59 West 21st Street. It's 21st and 6th. And it's actually the club where I've thrown a whole bunch of parties, and they're letting me use the space for a book signing. I've gotten a bunch of people signed up. Just, you don't need to sign up. Just if you want to come by and buy a book and get a signature and give me a hug, just come by 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday.
Sounds fantastic. Who could pass that up? A hug with JD on Thursday night. What a great way to wheel into the weekend. So you ready for the Jack Lambert podcast?
Who is Jack Lambert?
I thought you'd never ask. And I didn't even know. I kind of knew that you would not know who Jack Lambert is. Jack Lambert, born in 1952. The gentleman just turned 73 on July 8th. He was a 3-sport high school athlete, played baseball and hoops, and won a state championship in high school as an all-league cornerback. He knocked out his 4 front teeth playing hoops on one of his teammates' heads in practice, and he never wore his dentures when he played in the NFL, so he looked absolutely gnarly. He came from Mantua, Ohio. He went to Kent State first to be a veterinarian. He was on Kent State's football team with Nick Saban, right? Switches to defensive end. He's selected in the 2nd round of the draft by the Steelers, right? Legend has it, Al Rooney Jr. is watching a Kent State football practice, and Jack Lambert goes diving into the parking lot to make a play, and Art Rooney Jr. goes, we'll take that guy, which is pretty cool, right? So then he goes and starts as middle linebacker for the Steelers in 8 of his 11 seasons with them. He's a 1990 NFL Hall of Fame inductee because of this career. He won NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year in 74, Player of the Year in 76. He went to 9 Pro Bowls. He won 6 AFC championships and 4 Super Bowl rings.
Wow.
Pretty freaking intense, right?
So he was on that Steelers team that was really big in the 70s, right?
Yes, exactly, man. And they had all those square-offs with the Dallas Cowboys. His most famous play, JD, was in Super Bowl X, 1977. They're down 10-7 in the 3rd quarter. Their field goal kicker, Roy Girella, misses a field goal, right? Dallas Cowboys cornerback Cliff Harris taunting him, pats him on the head, is like, nice kick, buddy. Lambert comes up from behind him and body slams Harris onto the ground, right? It looks like a worldwide wrestling moment, right, in the NFL. And then diplomatically, Lambert talks himself out of an ejection, motivates his team. Steelers come back and win 21-17. Pretty cool freaking story, right?
That's
but
great.
He was a total badass, an intimidator, and a total winner. My favorite Jack Lambert quote was, he got ejected from a game for hitting quarterback Brian Sipe of the Browns too hard. And in the presser, they asked him, do you think you hit him hard enough to warrant, getting kicked out of the game? He goes, I hit him as hard as I could. So great. He's a goon, but an absolute savage and a total winner, man. 4 Super Bowl rings. That's a good way to go out.
Maybe he had a couple of pep talks from John Gordon.
Yeah, right. You probably did, man.
Yeah.
There was a no complaining rule in the Jack Lambert huddle. I'll tell you that,
You
man.
know what? I've really come around to the no complaining.
Oh,
Like, I actually wrote a Substack about that.
I read it.
Yeah, I don't complain about things anymore. And part of that was because of our discussion with John,
Yep.
like, if you complain about something, you give power to it.
Yeah.
You actually make it stronger. And what I talked about in that piece was, what have people been complaining about for the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Trump.
Yeah.
Trump. They've been complaining about Trump nonstop. They've been like protesting with pussy hats on and all this stuff.
They
Like,
basically put him on an altar,
I know.
right? Literally.
If you just ignored the guy, he would go away, right? He would probably lose an election and go away. But
Yeah.
you got to complain about Trump. So,
Yep. That's a great point, man. It really is a good point. And the no complaining rule, it will change your life.
yep.
It will change your life. Literally, it's kind of a natural filter of negativity. If you catch yourself and you're like, no, dude, don't sit here and rant about this negative thing. Move the fuck on. Your day gets better every single time. So
Yep.
good thing to abide by. So let's look at the markets, JD. We got a little bit of data out this morning. We got ISM services that was a little weak at 50.1 versus 51.5 expected. As you know, just above 50, we're teetering on economic growth, potentially into an economic slide. And we've got bond yields right back to the bottom of the move, which is just under 4.2%. Give me a spin on what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, and when I look at the chart of bond yields, especially twos, like twos gapped, 2-year yields gapped lower by 20 basis points on Friday with payrolls.
Yeah.
And I think they're on support. So look, here's the thing. Trump announced this morning that he has 4 candidates that he wants as Fed chair. And we know that 2 of them are the Kevins. Kevin Hassett and Kevin Warsh. We know that one of them is probably Christopher Waller, who is already Fed governor. I don't know who number 4 is, right?
It was going to be Hulk Hogan. Go ahead. Number 4.
But, I mean, none of these are really bad choices. I think Hassett is probably the worst choice, and the smart money is on Hassett. Hassett gets in front of a camera and just says ridiculous shit all the time. But I mean, they've all talked about Fed independence. I don't think any of them are going to do what Trump wants them to do, which is to lower rates to 0.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It is, and what was interesting, how about that on Friday, we get the data, we get a Stinkburger NFP number, and Captain Ding Dong comes out and fires the head of the BLS that delivered the number.
Dude, we live in Turkey. Like, Trump is Erdogan. Trump is Erdogan. This is Turkish monetary policy, right? And look, I'm a dollar bull for the time being, until the facts change. Dude, the facts are changing. It's hard to be a dollar bull when Trump is firing the head of the BLS.
Yeah. My point was that if you're not doing that alongside reams of proof that person actually committed fraud and there's a reason for the firing, you look like a banana republic. And that's what he just did, so that kind of sucked. But what's wild is that it shook up the bond market, right? The bond market goes on a tear. 10-year rates fall to 420. They're right to the bottom of the range, as you mentioned. From a tactical trading perspective, I'm going to keep dancing with the girl that I brought there, which means that I've been betting on rates mean reverting. And here at the bottom of the range, I'm certainly not going to bet on them falling much further. I'm going to continue to bet on them mean reverting until I get burnt, which means I'm pretty interested in buying this dip in the S&P. We finally got it close to the 50-day moving average down at 6,200 when we got to the lows yesterday and Friday. So, maybe we get a chance to do a little more back and fill here, but this was not the type of sell-off that was like the beginning of an avalanche to me at all. Right. We only got one day on Friday where the tick index was greater than minus 1,500 on the lows. So there was a little agnostic selling. The sectors that got damaged the worst were all natural resources sectors. Tech somehow hung in just fine. We had Mag 7, a couple of names. Microsoft is still off to the races. And so there's some strength there in technology. And I think that's why the market's not buckling in its entirety. And that's kind of what makes me bullish. I think the whole bullish trend is going to get back on its feet once we digest this move in yields, things like that. Gold is back to being bid. Gold is holding up a lot better than I thought it would.
I want to mention Brent Donnelly put out a very good tweet and also a good newsletter talking about how the payroll number and firing the head of the BLS, and also we didn't even mention one of the Fed governors quit. Adriana Kugler quit.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Right. So he's like, all of these things are super bullish gold. He said, we've been consolidating long enough. It's been 5 months. He said gold was going to go to 34.50. We're about $60 away from that. So, where's my bell?
It's a good call by BD.
Yeah.
Not surprising. That is a good call. For me, though, we're still within range, man. You know what I mean? Until we break that 34.50 triple top, I'm not giving you a breakout, but I do have to, again, as a trader, I do have to acknowledge that I was expecting it to back off with the dollar rally. We got a little bit of a dollar rally, and gold really didn't back off much at all. So to me, that's a sign of relative strength where I have to pair my bearish view and say, heads up here, buddy. It didn't go down when you thought it would. So that's an important thing. And then you've got, silver trying to get back on its horse again. Platinum, they're catching a little bit of a bid on the dip finally. But we'll see how it shakes out. We'll see how that shakes out. Tell me your thoughts on Bitcoin, and also, JD, I'm going to beat this one out of you. Do you have an opinion on Ethereum at all, and how do you look at one versus the other, if you do at all? And just give me a little riff on that.
Well, Solana has been outperforming Ethereum for the better part of a year or two now. I'm not a crypto expert, but I guess Solana is better at Ethereum for apps and programming stuff on the blockchain. So Solana's been outperforming, but you had this big move in Ethereum the last couple months. Like it finally broke out after a couple years ago in nowhere.
Yep.
So I don't really have a strong opinion on Bitcoin here. I think it's probably closer to the end of this trend than people think. At first I thought it was going to get up to 150, 160. Now I'm not sure it's going to get up there. Getting back to your stock market comments, there's just a lot of signs of rank speculation out there. Like the index of most shorted names skyrocketing, penny stock volumes, like all the stuff like this. And Bitcoin is, it has historically been correlated to NASDAQ and tech risk. So I just think look, I'm not going to sit here and call a top, pound the table and say this is the top, but I just think we're closer to the end than people think.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Ethereum caught all the headlines on its trip, a super quick trip in a flash from 2,500 to 4K. Right. So percentage wise, a massive move. And you pull up the chart and there's 3 peaks at 4K in 2024. So you're, as a trader, you're like, okay, if you want to show me the money, Ethereum, go 4,300 bid and we'll see what happens. But that's not happening either. So it kind of lends a little bit of credibility, or maybe a lot of credibility, to your idea that maybe we're at the end of this particular bullish cycle in Bitcoin. Maybe we have a back and fill to 100K there. I might fight you a little bit on Solana been outperforming, because since that Bitcoin move, Solana's gone straight down. And it's between 150 and 175 now, if I'm looking at that right, at the price right. I'm looking at XSO on Bloomberg. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag at the moment, and I don't trust Ethereum to go pounding through 4K on the upside unless I see it. And I would imagine that it's going to come with a whole rise in crypto. But what I have been doing is spending some more time listening to how Bitcoin and crypto and stable coins fit into the sort of monetary system and the financing structure. And while I don't have any brilliant ideas and can't really speak that eloquently about it yet, I'm starting to understand, to see how it fits, and to see a lot of the different applications that there are. So I'm getting friendlier. I'm trying to educate myself, and I'm just really trying to figure out how to make money, quite honestly. What else do we have going on the tape, JD? Gold miners. What's interesting? Gold miners put in another good, another good performance. They hung in there while gold backed off and had another good month. They're now up 65% year to date at the top of the leaderboard. They've got uranium behind them up 50%, and then we've got aerospace and defense, social media, and industrial miners all up 30% on the year.
So I want to bring up. I am long one fad stock.
Which one? Hims?
Hims.
Oh yeah, tell me
Hims.
about that. What's going on with that?
Dude,
Why are you long?
Hims missed on earnings. It didn't really miss. It was a little weak on the revenue side. It wasn't a bad miss. But the stock was down about $7. It was down about 10, 12%. Dude, they rallied it all the way back to unch this morning. All the way back to unch.
Yeah. I mean, it was met with buying. It opened up on the 50-day moving average support around 54. They took it right to 63. And this looks like the Ethereum chart, Demito, JD. We've got two prior peaks in 2025. We've peaked out around 73 times now. So this is another show me the money stock. This thing better get through 70, or it's going to have, a speculative pullback that could be pretty steep, I would think. But I haven't touched too many individual stocks at all lately. My process there has just been to kind of sip money into Costco and a few of the LNG names that I like, which will remain a secret. What else, JD? Are we missing anything that's going on around the world? We had that big failure in copper, right? We were talking about copper last time.
Dude, there's going to be some trading firms that go tits up after that. Like people, dude, people got nicked on that.
Yeah.
Trying
to trade that ARB, right? Where high grade copper locally went to 5 and change and the LME copper didn't move.
Yep.
That's a tough trade, man. I'm not exactly how this is going to pan out, but base metals still look like they're going nowhere to me. Absolutely nowhere. Even with a little bit of a turn in the dollar, they didn't look great. So hard to get bullish that sector at all. Is there a sector that we're leaving out, JD? What else do we want to cover?
Want to cover banks?
Sure, man.
Well, you saw Trump is going after the banks for debanking conservatives, which I think is really interesting.
You think is there any legs to it? I mean, I see JP Morgan, maybe off the highs, not much. Bank of America, same kind of. They don't look like they're affected by this headline. Or you could say Bank of America backed off 10% from 50 to 45. Could be due to the Trump headline. Any traction to that headline?
I don't think this has a lot of market implications, but I think the politics behind it are pretty interesting. Like, for example, JP Morgan, Bank of America, all these banks, if they're debanking conservatives, I don't think they're doing it on their own. You know what I mean? Like, I think they were getting guidance from the Biden administration. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out from that,
it sounds like they're going to catch them doing that, right? I mean, they caught the IRS blatantly,
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah.
Right. Like that was part of the Obama 3 playbook, if you ask me. That
going after the Tea Party organizations.
Yeah. It's like, what Obama is really good at politically is he leaves no stone unturned. Right. He puts the full weight and power of the party behind every single vertical that he can to come after the opposition here. He plays hardball. So doesn't shock me. We're going to find out more about that, just like we're going to find out more about the 2016 election, which is blowing up absolutely massively. And it sounds, I'm not going to bet that people are going to actually go to jail, but this is going to draw a lot of light on the DNC that they do not want drawn on them. So I don't know if we want to go into that political story or not. We probably should not. Let's leave it at that, right? Let's stick to the markets. You know what I mean? They're virile enough, and I'm just loving that Barack Obama's sort of legacy is getting a little bit of a facelift here. Put it that way. Off the markets, JD. We're dead in the middle of summer. I've had an unbelievable summer so far. Getting ready to take the kids back to school in a couple of weeks, which leads into a really nice, peaceful fall for me. Like, what's going on out of the markets for you? What's exciting?
I'm looking forward to the day I stop traveling. I've been traveling so much.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to New York this week. I'm going to Cleveland next week, and then I think I'm done for a while. But I've been doing so much traveling. It's like my head, like I get home, I unpack my suitcase and I pack it again, you
Oh,
know,
yeah, that's
like
tough, man. Now, are you one of the guys that gets home and unpacks the suitcase immediately, or do you leave the suitcase there to marinate for a day or two and
I
then
leave it to marinate for a
do
day
you?
or two.
Dude, I am so the opposite. I literally get home from a trip and unpack my bag one thing at a time and put it back where it belongs. Like usually by the time the night I get home, the dirty clothes are in the hamper, everything is put away, and the piece of luggage is like by the stairs ready to go back down. I'm a little bit of a lunatic like that. But I don't do any traveling in the summertime. Like I try to not travel in the summer.
I try also, and then I get sucked into it.
I
Yeah,
was just gonna say, and then every week of the summer, you were off somewhere this summer. I was
know.
like, this guy is blowing his brains out. Like literally, it's too much, and I can't stand sweating while I'm traveling. So if I can squeeze it all into the fall and the winter, I get excited for my trip in January at the beginning of the year, my little speaking tour. I go from here to Nashville to Vancouver and a couple places on the way. So I get excited to do that, but I push it all off into the beginning of the year.
Dude, I get a story. I get a story for you from when I was in Miami.
Oh, let's hear it.
So I was sitting by the pool with my wife, and there was this guy in the pool who had the hairiest back I've ever seen. Like like his back hair was like 3 inches long. It was like fur, like this hairy, furry back. And he was French. He was speaking French, right?
Mm.
So he left his phone sitting on the edge of the pool, and his 4-year-old goes running by and kicks it into the pool.
Oh,
So the guy flips out, like starts screaming at the kid, picks him up, starts beating the snot out of him.
oh
His
man.
wife is like yelling at him, like, like count to three. She's like saying count to three in French.
Calm
Like
down.
I'm just watching this whole thing. I'm like you dumbass, don't leave your phone next to the pool.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And I'm not sure why I had to hear about his hairy back. That didn't sound like that was a necessary part of the story because once you say hairy back in the pool, I'm out of the pool. I'm getting out of the pool right there. I'm probably looking for another pool on the property.
dude, you dunk your head in the pool, you get a mouthful of back hair.
Oh God, JD, that is just foul. That is just foul. And I'm a big pool fan too. I'm a pool connoisseur. I
Dude,
love nothing
he
more.
actually he shaved a circle around his neck.
Oh, yeah, that is so. Oh my God, like a diner owner or something like that. Just a really cheesy look, and he's got his Nigels that are poking out probably from the shirt. Just terrible, terrible look. Oh God, thanks for bringing us there, JD. What else we got?
So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Merrick, Long Island, on the South
Which is
Shore.
on the South Shore.
Yeah.
So, what high school did you go to?
So I went to Chaminade High School. I would have gone to the local high school, which was Calhoun, where my sister went, but I always wanted to go to Chaminade, which was the Catholic all boys school. There were like a lot of studs from town seemed to be going there, and I was like, I think that's the route I should go, and that's the route that I went.
So you played lacrosse.
Yeah,
Did you play baseball at all growing up?
I did. I was obsessed with baseball. Baseball was huge in the 70s and 80s, right?
Yep.
Little League was like a mandatory thing, and
Yep.
I loved it. I played baseball up until sixth grade. That was just an amazing thing. I'll never forget like the days of being in like fourth, fifth, and sixth grade playing Little League and like signing up and finding out what team you were on. Like that was always the most exciting thing in the world was finding out if you were on the Yankees or the Royals or the Tigers. And then you'd get your jersey and be like, sick, we're light blue this year.
Yep.
So those are the great memories of Little League I had. I loved playing baseball as a kid.
Yeah, I played until I was about 14 or 15. I tried out for the high school varsity team. I got cut. I didn't make the team.
Yeah.
My best year was when I was 12. I was a pitcher. I was actually a pretty good pitcher. I was 6-2 when I was 12.
Whoa.
I love baseball. I'm just not that good at it.
Yeah.
And I was throwing heat in Little League. When I was 12, I was throwing 60 plus miles an hour.
Really?
And then when I got to be like 15, I was still throwing 60 miles an hour. Like I just never got any stronger,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's a big thing. Youth sports is like that. That's the nature of it, right? Like different kids mature at different times and where you may have been a stronger kid in one era, like, 2 years later, the next couple of badasses grow up and start whooping up on you.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes. It's just the way it goes. But at least, that era was super fun because that was playing baseball and being obsessed with the Yankees at the same time, like the Thurman Munson, Reggie Jackson, Catfish Hunter Yankees. So that was my youth, man. That was it. It was baseball and baseball cards.
For me, it was the Mattingly Yankees.
Yeah. Oh God, that was most painful era too,
Yep.
right? The late '80s. Oh God, right before the Dream Team showed up.
Yep.
Right before Jeter, Pettit, and Mariano all landed.
Hip Jorge.
And Jorge. That's right. We can't forget Jorge.
Do you remember that game where Pedro was throwing at people and Jorge started yelling at Pedro and Pedro's like, "I'll throw at your head." Remember that? He was like pointing at his head.
Yeah, dude. And that's why Pedro Martinez qualifies as one of my favorite baseball players of all time. Right? Because he had a bigger pair of balls on him than I think almost anyone. And like he played offense as a pitcher, and he was just a dealer. He was a bad dude and an ultimate competitor, and for those Yankees teams, like you needed somebody like that if you were going to survive. You needed a Pedro with attitude. You needed somebody to stir the pot. And then, watching that team come back and win the World Series in 2004, that unbelievable comeback they had against the Yankees, it was all that attitude that got him there. So that's why I love Pedro Martinez.
I watched him pitch against the A's when I was living out in California. Pedro, the first pitch of the game, drills the leadoff batter in the ribs. The first pitch of the game just drills him in the ribs. And then for the next 25 outs, throws a perfect game.
Wow.
So it's like 1 out in the ninth, and he finally gives up a hit. But I'm like, this ding dong being somebody like the first pitch of the game, and he screwed up his perfect game. Like it was incredible.
Oh man. You know what I loved about one thing that I'll never forget about Pedro? I was able to sit behind the Red Sox dugout for a lot of Yankee games, a lot of playoff games. I had a friend that had seats there. So I used to get taken to Yankee playoff games, sitting behind the Red Sox dugout. And eventually you'd get Pedro out of the game. And the coolest thing was that the entire Yankee stadium behind the Boston dugout was standing up cursing at him while he's walking off the field. You fucking fuck, you bet. The whole giving him, everybody there is so animated. And that dude walked off slow as he could. He gave you the longest look at him, and he didn't have an expression on his face. Just walked off like, you guys can't touch me. And I used to think that was incredible because the Bronx is an intimidating place, and to have, I don't know how many people in that field of view, like 500, just cursing you out on your way off the field, and just to not crack a smile was badass to me. So he's forever one of my favorites. You need a good, if you got a good team, you need a good competitor. And he was the absolute best, man. Good angle on the questions, though, JD.
Yep.
I like where you took us. We do not want to talk about the Yankees right now.
No.
So we're going to just cancel that conversation. Yep. They look like the goddamn bad news Bears. I don't. They just got swept by the Marlins, right? Like, and you're like,
I was there for game 2 of that series.
Oh my God, what a disaster! All right, so we're not going to talk about it. We're going to wait until they come out of this slump, or we're going to wait for hockey season. That's what we're going to do. All right, guys, I think we covered pretty much everything under the sun. Let's just do this. I don't know if we came out of where is our I want to just close up saying, where is our equity market? What are you, bullish, bearish, stocks, S&P 6,300?
I'm bearish small. I'm looking for a move to 6,000.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. I'm kind of bullish. Like, I think that I don't think we're going to make a new low from BLS Friday, and I think that we are going to push the 6,450, 6,500 highs. We'll tune in Macro Dirt podcast number 59 and see who is right. Great job, everybody. Have a nice weekend.